Avalon for 2023.
Okay, so I am recording at this point in time, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Eric.
All righty, we'll go from there. Let's see here. We'll take that off. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about Avalon Waterways. If you haven't ever taken a river cruise before, we're going to enlighten you a little bit about what Avalon does and what makes us special. So again, thank you very much for joining us. And Andrea, of course, thank you very much for inviting me. And hopefully we can share this with all of your wonderful clients. Cruising elevated. I love this picture here because this is in Budapest. You can see it over on the Buda side, and one of the popular stops, especially when we're doing the Danube. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the different itineraries as we move forward. So we'll talk a little bit about Avalon, impeccably clean, 5-star service. To give you a bit of a background, Avalon is part of the Globus family of brands. Globus has been around since 1928. We have 4 brands under our umbrella, and that's Globus, Cosmos, Independence by Globus starting next year. And it was Monograms, but it has been revamped and rebranded. And then, of course, Avalon Waterways. And you can see one of our gorgeous ships there. And I'll tell you a little bit about why we stand out in the crowd when we're doing river cruising. So size is seismic. One thing we like about our vessels is our cabins, and you'll find out what those are all about because it's a real huge selling point for Avalon. We have a lower passenger count than some of our competitors. High crew attention, great passenger to crew ratio, which obviously ends up giving us a higher guest satisfaction with Avalon. It doesn't get any sweeter. So this kind of sets us apart. When we designed our vessels, we didn't build balconies onto Avalon Waterways. What we did is we angled the bed towards the opening. We have 3 sliding glass doors, 1 and 2 slide behind the third one. And what it does is opens the whole wall of the cabin. And instead of balconies, we turn the whole room into the balcony. Our cabins are 30% larger than industry average. And you can see one of the cabins here. So these are with the windows, the slide glass doors opened up and letting the outside in. And with Avalon, as you see throughout, it's all about the views, all about the ability to see what you're on vacation to enjoy. Again, 30% larger than our competitors, 100% wide open views, and even our public rooms on board, all about glass, all about the views. We're redefining the window of opportunity. So again, when we decided to develop this concept, as you can see here, one of the cabins, and I'll show you a few more here shortly, what we did, angled that bed towards the opening, so open the sliding glass doors, wonderful sitting area there to enjoy a continental breakfast in the morning, a glass of wine in the afternoon. But we're the only ones where the beds face the view. It still surprises me that that design feature is exclusive to Avalon, but everything you want to see is out those beautiful windows, and we angle the bed towards that. And by angling the bed, it gives us the opportunity to build a larger bathroom. Really makes for a wonderful experience. So this is outside looking in. Again, you can see the sliding glass doors are all pulled back there. Wonderful way to enjoy the outside and hear the rush of the river as you're going by, and be able to lie in bed and see all those wonderful sights again as you're going up and down the river. This is inside looking out. Again, you can see that wonderful little sitting area. What I've always liked about Europe is the wine store is next to the cheese store, which is next to the bread store, which is next to the meat store. So those wonderful little towns, you can get a nice bottle of wine. You can maybe get a little something to nosh on. Come back, and if you see a place where you can get a couple of nice bottles of wine, do so and bring those back to the room. You can enjoy those. If you do take them into the dining room, there's a corkage fee. But why would you do that? Because we include wine and beer with lunch and dinner, and sparkling wine at breakfast. But again, you can see how wonderful these cabins are. These are the bathrooms. I told you that by angling the bed gives us not a rectangular bathroom, but a much bigger bathroom here. You see all marble L'Occitane bath products, his and her towels. It's a wonderful space. I'm a rather large guy, I'm 6'3", and it's nice to have plenty of room to take a shower in there and enjoy the space. So, we can tell you how wonderful, or I can tell you how wonderful we are, but we're very happy with some of the recognition we've got within the trade press. Cruise Critic, we love Cruise Critic because Cruise Critic, when they vote on something, this is voted on by people that have actually experienced a river cruise. It's not some magazine we've advertised in or something along those lines. But it's, as you can see there, all the different things that we've won. If you look back to 2019, when really the last full year a complete cruising took place, we were voted the river cruise line with the best shore excursions, and I'll talk a little bit about that a little later and some of the different things we offer. The best river cruise company in Europe, and then the best cabins. And the best cabins has been 4 years in a row. So we're extremely happy that we have that type of recognition within the trade. There are a lot of wonderful river cruise products out there, and for us to get voted #1 on these 3 items in 2019 makes us quite happy. And then the USA Today Readers Poll voted us with the #1 river cruise vessel last year in 2021. So again, some great recognition in the press. Home Sweet Home. Here you get to see another view of our one of our beautiful ships in Europe. We had 2019 the Avalon Envision, and then here you have the new Avalon View that came out in 2020. So below you'll see all the different vessels we have in our fleet, and two of those, the Saigon is one of our vessels that's in Vietnam that we do, and that's a little bit smaller. Moa, I should say, much smaller. It only holds 36 passengers, so kind of a unique size vessel for that itinerary. Whim powered cruising, so you get the chance to choose the different excursions that you want to enable you to kind of pick what interests you. We have lots of different excursions, and let me explain those to you a little bit. So north, south, or your way, or their way, actually. So we have active, discovery, and classic excursions. And let me explain these to you. When you look at the classic excursion, that is what most of the river cruise companies do, including us. Classic are going to be your cathedrals, your castles, your museums, and you have the ability to go see those. But what we've done at Avalon is being able to broaden our choices when we're ashore, and we have active and discovery excursions also. Active is pretty self-explanatory. We have hiking, biking, canoeing, lots of different choices there to keep you busy. And then discovery, as you can see maybe up top, a painting class, a cooking class, lots of different things there. So you have 3 different choices. And what I like on some of our itineraries, for instance, in Vietnam, the grandfather on a multi-gen group, the grandfather can go to the War Museum. The mom can do a wine tasting, or the kids can do an escorted bike trip through Vienna. Great to have the ability to choose what interests the clients when they're in a particular destination. And the adventure is up to you. Along with all those different choices, we have an adventure host on board, and the adventure host is there to kind of help fulfill your activities. I did a cruise in the fall, and I took 2 bicycle trips with our adventure host, and he does yoga classes in the mornings, and he helps coordinate the different activities that we have on shore when we get to a different location. So those are always very helpful, very friendly, and there's one available on every single vessel. Now, as I mentioned before, Avalon is part of the Globus family of brands. Why not take a river cruise company that has those affiliations with the other part of our company and utilize those? So what we can do with Avalon is be able to extend your vacation either on the front side or on the back side. So it gives you a chance to extend your vacation into some really wonderful destinations. It can be the Côte d'Azur, it could be Budapest or Prague, it could be Paris, so you can even do it over to London. So why not make the most out of your vacation there and extend it? And we can do so with all of our land products that we have with the Globus family of brands. Here's a good example of that. So this is the Romantic Rhine. This goes from Holland to Basel. This is the castle trip, the one everybody enjoys doing. And you'll see you can add Paris and London on the front, add Amsterdam at the end. You can go this in both directions, so you could either do it before or after, but you could add Lucerne, Lake Como, Milan, Lucerne and Lake Como, or add just Lucerne. So again, the ability to expand your vacation to different destinations has been real popular for us. Sorry, that sun just popped out on me. So food is always very important on a river cruise, and the one thing I like to say about a river cruise is when you're on a big ship cruise, you have to get all of your food before you go out to sea. That's a little different from a river cruise because of all the different things that are offered along the way. We can pull over and get fresh vegetables or truffles or fresh fish or different things, mussels, etc., that we can do along the route. So I know one time I was following back a chef from one of the open markets, and I asked him what he had in his cart, and he says, "Well, I have fresh truffles for tonight's pasta." And of course, that's what I had that evening. But we are doing craft cocktails in the bar. We're doing all these fresh menu items in the dining room. And that I like that farm to fork. I've always said farm to table, but I like that concept, farm to fork, right to your plate. Now, we have lots of different dining options. As you see here, you'll see our upstairs area. This is the main lounge. We'll do some tasting menus in the main lounge. They're the same items that you would have in the main dining room, but lots of small choices so that you can try lots of different things. And as I mentioned earlier, you can do a continental breakfast in your room and enjoy that wonderful outdoor area of your cabin. We also do a bistro on the top deck. So that's that middle picture up top. And that's when the weather's nice and we're cruising up and down the river. We'll do the outdoor bistro and really open that up and enjoy that area. Chicken and fish and brats and burgers and ice cream, and of course beer and wine complimentary at lunch and dinner. So that's always included, but the ability to see both sides of the river as you're cruising and enjoy a wonderful lunch, always very, very popular with us. Or the main dining room, of course, wonderful meals there in the dining room to enjoy. And you can come into dining between 7 and 8. You're not required to be there at 7 and start dining. So you can kind of be casual and kind of come in when you like. But what I do find out is when people find that wonderful waiter that they've been served by the previous nights, they get to the dining room early so that they can get that waiter again. So I see that quite a bit. Or you can actually end up doing a little picnic, and they'll pack a picnic basket if you're interested in doing that also. The fresh fare, again, the farm to fork itinerary. This is done by our two of our chefs. They're the Rank brothers. They're two Austrian brothers that have a lot of restaurants in Austria, and they really are doing those fresh menu items, and it's called Avalon Fresh. And on the menus, you'll see all the different choices that we have for Avalon Fresh, and there's always those go-to items that are on the menu every night. That is a steak, a fish, and a chicken. And then if you have special dietary needs, you'll just let our maitre d' know. They typically have a meeting early in the week so that they in the dining room. So if you have any special needs, to let them know, whether it be low sodium or gluten-free, etc. They're there to make sure everything is wonderful for you along your trip as far as dining is concerned. We have a great crew to passenger ratio, 3-to-1, really giving great service. And the one thing I've heard about Avalon over the years, there's a lot of wonderful river cruise companies that are out there, but everybody comes back and say how friendly our crew is. And that's very, very important. If you have a friendly crew, everyone has a wonderful time on board, and it feels like a family by the time you end your cruise. Cruises are unique as our guests. So this talks about a subset of our regular cruises. Now I talked about our active and discovery, our host on board, our adventure host. We also have these special itineraries that are called active and discovery. And most of our cruises, we have lots of different choices, but these are even more in depth, and they really give you ability to pick and choose kind of what you want to do when you're on a river cruise on these itineraries. So you get to pedal, paint, or ponder. And then you'll see here below some of the different itineraries that we have the active discovery cruises on. We have a new one on the lower Danube and also the Croatia to the Black Sea. But the ones at the bottom, we're doing it Holland and Belgium, Rhone, the Rhine, the Seine, Danube, and the Moselle. So there's a lot of these different ones where we really focus on the choice of excursions while you're on board. And we still do the classic excursion, as I mentioned, and that's the walking tour of all the historic sites, the must-see sites in those areas. And there's really 3 different groups: the fast group, the slow group, and the gentle, or the medium group, and the gentle walkers, which everybody likes. So early on in the trip, you'll know where you fit in as far as what group is going to be most conducive for you on those. And why are the active discoveries a little bit different from our regular itineraries? It's because we do unique ports of call. We do some ports that the other guys don't do. We're in those ports longer so that we have more choices and more time to do those excursions that we mentioned. There's less distance between ports, so you can do a series of morning activities, and then when you cruise through lunch and you end up in another destination, and you have an opportunity to do some things in the afternoon and pick and choose what you'd like to do. Also, more daytime sailing, which everybody likes, also gives you that ability to do the outdoor bistro if the weather permits, making for a real fun day on the vessel. And more active and discovery excursions. So we offer those in most every one of our itineraries, but on the active and discovery cruise, they're more in depth and a lot more choices to choose from. Here's the active and discovery on the Danube, and again, you see the your way possibilities. You can add Prague. This is from Prague down to Deggendorf that we utilize, one of the few cities that a lot of the other guys don't use. And you see here Linz, Mauthausen, Grein, Spitz, Krems, Vienna, down to Visegrad, and down to Budapest, down in Hungary. So, and you can even add Budapest on the end, which I highly recommend. Both Prague and Budapest are 2 of my favorite cities in Europe, and why not take advantage of those when you're cruising with us? Avalon Choice, again, this gives you the ability to kind of know some of the excursions on that particular itinerary I just showed you. How cool would it be to go to Dracula's castle when you're on board there down in on a hiking tour? You'll stop in Visegrad, which is a wonderful castle experience there. You can take a canoe ride through the picturesque Bend region of the Danube, and a tour of Vienna. As I mentioned before, you could get to do a cooking class if you like there. That's a fun thing. You see they're making schnitzel there in that particular class, but a biking trip or go to the War Museum, lots of different wonderful things to do in Vienna. And then you can maybe do a wine tasting in Vienna if you like there also. Here's another itinerary that we have. This is through France. This is a great itinerary here. I just did this one back in the fall, and I did the southbound. So this starts in Lyon, or actually ends in Lyon. So this starts in Port St. Louis, down in the oh, sorry about my dog. So this starts down the Côte d'Azur, works its way up north through Arles and Avignon, see the Palace of the Popes, and then see some different destinations, and then you end up in Lyon, which is great because that's the gastronomic capital of France. That'll give you the ability to maybe try some wonderful restaurants while you're there. But great experiences in cruising on the Rhone through France. One of the cool excursions we do, this is a spelunking trip where you hike down into a cave and then do a wine tasting. How unique would that be? So this is these are some of the choices that you have on this active discovery on the Rhone and the Saône. You can take a guided bike ride through Camargue National Park. You can do a painting class and learn some of the techniques from Van Gogh. You can do a kayak trip through a gorge, or the guided excursion that you see here on the left, where you do underground wine tasting. So very unique. You see, you got the helmets and the lights, but a very unique excursion to experience. Here's the Best of the Rhine. This gives you another one of our active and discovery cruises. This goes from Frankfurt south to Basel. You can add Frankfurt on the front if you'd like to do a couple extra days there, or add Lucerne in Switzerland. And you go through Strasbourg and Breisach through the Black Forest down to Basel. And it's a shorter itinerary, and a lot of folks like our shorter itinerary, especially if they've never experienced a river cruise and they want just a little taste of it. But then we offer the land. Nobody's really going to go to Europe, I wouldn't think, for 4 days. But we have a lot of those pre and post programs in different cities to extend that vacation and do a lot of interesting things that you may have thought of while you're in Europe. Some of the choice excursions here on that particular itinerary: you get to go through Rudesheim, go through the musical museum there, which is very interesting, and have a wonderful Rudesheimer cafe while you're there, and that's always a special treat. A sightseeing tour is Strasbourg that you see here. Beautiful picture with the half timbered houses. Learn about German winemaking and enjoy tasting a local winery. And then you can do experience over to the Black Forest and maybe go to an open air museum there. So lots of good choices on that particular itinerary also. So that kind of gives you an overview of Avalon as a product, with our dining and our excursions and all the stops, our wonderful ships. Now, the one thing about Avalon is our ship, their ships are two sizes in Europe. They are 330 feet or 440 feet. The smaller vessels are in France. The longer ships are in Germany and Austria, etc. And our largest vessel holds 166. Our smallest vessel holds 128. So by having larger cabins, we have fewer passengers on board, and that really makes for a nice experience there. Again, there are lots of wonderful river cruise companies doing Europe, but Avalon has great reputation. We have great cabins, and we're part of a company that's been around for 94 years. So again, some wonderful opportunities here, river cruising. Andrea, as always, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to let them know a little bit about what Avalon is and what sets us apart from the competition. But river cruising is such a wonderful vacation. It's one of the more popular programs out there in the marketplace. So come join us with a river cruise and jump on Avalon when you get a chance.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your time. I really appreciate you sharing all those wonderful itineraries. I love that excursion that goes down, and they get to have the wine tasting with their helmets on after all the hard work on getting down to the bottom of that cave. That looks really cool.
They certainly do earn that glass of wine when they get down there, that's for sure.
They do. I'd be interested to see what the way up looks like after having some wine. This is coming from a personal front, but that looks like a lot of fun. The itineraries are amazing. I'm actually going to be on the Envision in March in Budapest, so I'm
Oh,
excited.
wonderful. Yeah, that's such a
I'm
great
excited.
event. So many different opportunities. See all the different cruise lines. We love that as an industry program where we get as many agents on as many different companies and river cruise vessels, so that you can sell your customers on the one that fits them best. And I think we have a lot of different amenities and products that people love. But again, the ability for you to experience all those, you can certainly put your clients on the right river cruise product for them.
I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you again, Eric. And hopefully, if anyone's interested in moving forward and getting some more information, reach out to me at Vacations by Andrea, and I will provide my information on top so that you guys can reach out to me directly. Thanks again,
Right.
Eric.
Thank you, Andrea. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you,
You too.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
You're most certainly welcome. I will, let's see, you're in